Hello students, welcome to class. Today we're going to be talking about the Comanche Nation in the 1700s. My name is Miss Gracia.
My name is Miss Iracheta.
My name is Miss Vasquez.
Hello, my name is Miss Vasquez as well.
And hello, my name is Miss Camacho.
Okay, so now for the TICs, it's going to be about geography. So the students are going to talk about how people adapt and modify their environment, explain reasons why people have adapted to and modified their environment in Texas in the past, such as the use of natural resources to meet their basic needs, facilitate transportation, and enhance recreational activities. For the objectives, we will identify the reasons as to why the Comanche Nation migrated from Wyoming to Texas in the 1700s, and also comprehend how the Comanche Nation were able to adapt to the environment and analyze information regarding the Comanche Nation from the 1700s. Now we pass it on to Ms. Vasquez.
Hello, we're going to talk about the vocabulary words. Some of them is reservation, Great Plains. Great Plains is a region, and why is this important to mention? Because this is where the Comanche settled. You need to know where it's located. It lies west of the Mississippi River and east of the Rocky Mountains. Human-environment interaction is also a part of the vocabulary words. This is relationships between human activities and the surroundings. Comancheria, migration, compass points, borders, horsemanship. For the activity, we're gonna have an introduction questions. You will be placed in groups. Two groups will have the same question. After the groups have talked among each other, they will share their answers. Some of the questions that we will ask you is, where do you think this nation is located? And what can be some causes of migration? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and have Miss Iracheta explain the next activity.
Okay, students, so for the next activity that you will complete, you will watch a video that talks about the Comanche Nation. After you watch the video, you'll be doing a writing assignment where you will be discussing two important facts about the video, and Ms. Camacho will give you more information about that video.
Okay, students, before we start the video, I want to give you some key points that are important for you to know about the Comanches Nation. So to begin with, they started in Wyoming and they migrated to Texas. They were nomadic people, so they moved around a lot. They lived in teepee houses because it was easy for them to construct and break them down for whenever they had to leave, pack up and leave. They came to Texas and settled in the Great Plains, just like Ms. Vasquez said, and the Great Plains are located around Lubbock, Texas. The role of the males and the boys of the Comanches was that they had to know how to ride a horse and hunt for the buffalo, and the role of the females and the girls was to preserve everything of the buffalo to make jewelry, food, and clothing. So now we will watch the video.
The Comancheria is the region of New Mexico, West Texas, and nearby areas occupied by the Comanche before the 1860s. But the Comanche experience in Texas extends beyond these boundaries in time and in geography. Known as the Lords of the Plains, the history of the Comanche is at once fascinating and deeply moving. Late to the Texas game, the Comanches didn't arrive much before the Spanish. The Comanche were not a single organized tribe, but rather a group of bands. There were probably 13 of these bands, but 5 of them were the major bands who influenced Comanche history. Originally from the area that is now the state of Wyoming, the Comanche were part of the Shoshone Indians, and their languages are still very similar. Many factors influenced the Comanche move to the southern plains and their continued migration that eventually took them over 1,000 miles from their home. They had greater access to the Mustang horses that were so vital to the Comanche way of life. The warmer climate and access to the buffalo were also attractive to the Comanche. They were able to get French goods that they obtained through trade with Wichita Indians, goods that included firearms first obtained in 1740. They escaped pressure from the Blackfoot and Crow Indians, powerful and well-armed tribes. They got the name Comanche after they arrived on the Southern Plains. It was not their original name. Originally from the Ute word Comanche, literally anyone who wants to fight me all the time, the name was changed by the Spaniards in New Mexico to Comanche, although the Comanches call themselves Nurmenu, meaning the people. In 1743, the first documentation exists of Comanches in Texas. A small group of Comanche, probably scouts, showed up in San Antonio looking for Apaches, their sworn enemies. They first obtained horses from the Spanish in 1680, and their ability to both hunt and fight from the backs of the Mustangs virtually guaranteed their dominance over all other Indians inhabiting the same areas. The Comanche drove out tribes that were in Texas before them, including the Apache and Pueblo Indians from the Texas Panhandle and Northwest Texas, near present-day Abilene and Amarillo. Neither the Spanish nor the Americans had any clue how strong and vast the Comanche Nation was, stretching about 250,000 miles. Status as warriors. Two animals, the horse and the buffalo, were key to their success. It is impossible to overstate the value of the horse to the Comanche. Prior to the horse, the Comanche used dogs that pulled a sled-like device called a travois to carry supplies. After the horse, not only were they able to hunt and to fight, but they could travel, which suited their nomadic lifestyle.
Okay, students, now we will participate in a collaborative board where you will write 2 interesting facts about the Comanche Nation that you have acknowledged thus far and try to incorporate at least 2 vocabulary words. I will now give you about 2 minutes to answer the following prompt.
Okay, students, so the activity that we're going to be working on will be a pros and cons chart. And in this chart, you'll be taking into consideration how the Comanche Nation lived, how they adapted, how they moved, and how they survived. An example of the pros would be that they adapted to where their food source was. So in this case, they traveled to follow the bison. And a cons of this would be that they often trespassed into the territory of other nations. I will now be passing it on to Ms. Vasquez.
Okay, students, so now we're finally at the end of the lesson, and you're now going to take an exam that will cover all of the information you have learned about the Comanche Nation and what they had to do in order to adapt to the environment. Remember some of the things we covered earlier about their survival skills, their culture, and simply other facts you learned throughout the video. The test will be based in open-ended questions, and you are required to write at least 1 paragraph. So please make sure you elaborate as much as you can. Some of the test questions you'll have will be, how did the Comanche Nation adapt to living situations, and was the Comanche culture inspired by where they lived? This is our reference page, and this will conclude our lesson. Thank you for your attention.